It's Monday, July the 18th, and I'm outside of 224 Charlotte Street, where the tenants have just vacated in a hurry. This is a Section 8 property, and it is owned by Larry Lafredo and Faye Denolf. I featured them in a blog post that I wrote about their management style and the neglect of this property when former tenants were living there. In 2012, I covered that article, that information. Today, we're at Erica Hornberg Cooper, who runs the art gallery downtown. She lives right next door. And the people left their pit bull caged. You know how close properties are together here in Pottstown. This is really just within a few feet of her house. The dogs are caged. The dog is caged. It hasn't been fed or watered in 2 days. The people either left the side window open or other people have since broken in, and they have been climbing in and out. Complete strangers, people that Erica does not know and has never seen, are climbing in and out of this window at night. This morning, Erica's daughter phoned dispatch, and she phoned animal control. To this point, nothing has been resolved, and it's about 4:15 in the afternoon. Another phone call to Drumheller's office, which was addressed by O'Neill, and still nothing has been resolved. She made an additional phone call to dispatch in Montgomery County. We're waiting now for a police officer to arrive and address this situation. This is a typical incident of Section 8 voucher housing and poverty pimps in Pottstown. Larry and Faye are absolutely taking complete advantage of this community, and somebody knows it and they're condoning it. But this isn't isolated. This is everywhere. It is everywhere. In a few moments, you'll hear in Erica's own words exactly what this has been like for her and the efforts that she's made, and there is no help. There is no response. We have a borough that does not respond expediently to these situations, and they are virtually ignored in many cases. We'll be back with you in just a moment. We're going to take a small break and see you in a bit. I'm in the backyard now of 244 Charlotte Street, where the dog has been crated. We have some other folks here that have taken a look at the dog, and they believe she's been used for fighting. And the cop was here just recently too to address the open window. I think he said he's going to get back with Erica. We're going to get a little close-up here of the dog. Oh, hello, and there's a puppy in there with her. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, hello. She definitely has scars and all kinds of marks on her face. Oh, sweetie. Oh my goodness. Oh. This is what our neighbor Erica has lived with now for the past 2 nights. And yeah, this is absolutely amazing. We're going to be calling the Faye Denolf and Larry Lafredo, the owners of this property. And you know, at this point, all I can say is rotten hell. They're helping examine the eye, and it's bleeding horribly. This is sad and tragic. Absolutely sad and tragic. And I spoke with the owner, Faye Denolf. Not a very effective human, in my opinion. Giving me orders about who I should call and what I should do. This is her damn property, and these are the people she rented to. And the dog, will she be eternally held responsible for this kind of crap? That's all I can say.
I know what my dogs look like. What are you talking about? Like, I'm trying to move. My dogs didn't look like that before I left. Do you have more dogs inside, too?
Huh?
Do you have more dogs inside?
No, that's all I have.
You don't know what happened to the mother?
I want to know why my dog, and I got dog bowls in my fucking cage. They wasn't in there.
Because they were abandoned and with no food or
How
water.
are they abandoned? I just talked to my landlord. I got to get my stuff out of my place. What are you talking about?
When's the last time you were here, man?
Fuck out of here, man. Fuck out of here.
Fuck you.
Dumb shit, dude.
And again, here are the conditions of the backyard. The people left in a hurry, and they've dumped all their furniture on the back part of the house and left in a big hurry. But they definitely suspect there was dog fighting going on, and at least Mama Dog was definitely used for fighting, and she's scarred, and she has a little pup in the crate with her. And we're going to try to get through this fence now.
There's 15 dogs here? There's 15.
In her own words, and I'm going to ask a few questions and let her tell what's happened next door and what's been discovered today. Erica?
Hi. I may seem a little grumpy, I may look a little tired, but the last 2 nights have been very rough. I have not been able to sleep because there have been 3 dogs barking and crying all night, all day. It's been exceptionally hot out. It was a pit bull, and I was not brave enough to go over to try and help the dogs as I knew nobody was home. And today I just had it. I have my grandchildren with me, I have my 2 teenagers with me. The smell emanating from that property is disgusting, so I can't even open my windows, and I don't have air conditioning. I have written a letter in the past, 2 letters, since I've been here for 8 years, to the owners of the home, complaining about different tenants who have been there. And most of it has to do with trash. Over the winter, I somehow mislaid my big red tote. It's not easy to do in this town. And I found out that the neighbors had stolen it, and it was probably because the landlords may or may not have paid their water, sewer, and trash bill, as I do. So we had some words, the neighbor and I, Sim, and you know, I'm trying to do the best I can, but I am getting burnt out. I am getting fed up with this town. I think that receiving my tax bill a few weeks ago and just dealing with this crap is just getting me very tired. And I don't feel like it's a great environment to raise especially my grandchildren.
Exactly. This morning, it was the end of the 2 nights of hearing the dogs bark, and the female dog was crated with no food and no water, and she had a puppy with her. And there was also then a little dachshund that was running free in the yard. And your daughter called to ask the dog catcher to come and take care of the dog. And she was told that he had come, but when the police came this afternoon, along with the codes people and all of us residents, there was no food and water. Is that correct?
There was no water, and also codes was here. They could also verify. That crate was full of dog shit, excuse me, and urine, and it was horrible, the smell.
And that was
dogs were emaciated.
Yeah.
My concern is because I was told that the dog catchers were here today and that everything seemed fine, that there was water and there was food, that they didn't feel like it was an issue. But my question then would be, did they actually walk up to the crate and discover all the dog shit in there, and how emaciated both the puppy and the mother were, and that the eye was bleeding? I'm concerned that I got 2 versions of a story, but I got to see firsthand that those dogs were in horrible conditions.
And so apparently the dog catcher didn't really come by and inspect. Had he done so, you would have anticipated that he would have been concerned about the condition of the dogs, and that it could have been addressed this morning instead of at 4 o'clock this afternoon.
Exactly. I am very proud of my daughter because she's been concerned about the dogs. I was at work this morning when she called, but when I got home I was unaware that she had called. She was kayaking, and so I called. And it's just when I talked to Officer O'Neill, He's the one who actually informed me that the dog warden was here and everything was fine. And for the other issue about people climbing in and out of the window, I would have to call 911, which really bothered me in the event there was a serious emergency, that I'm bothering our police force with stupid things.
Yes, but then these people ostensibly are on their way out, and that window's been left open, and you've observed people that you don't even know coming in and out of that window at night.
Right.
And other times of the day. You're probably, what, less than 25 feet, 8 feet away from their house? This is a concern.
Especially because I have my grandson here who's here a lot, and I have kids. And
Yes.
again, I am a property owner and a taxpayer. I volunteer as much as I can in the community because I have today not as much faith, but I strongly believe that this community has a lot of assets. There's a lot of talented people, and I think this town could have a future, but we need to stop homeowners, like me, need to stop putting up with bullshit
Yes.
from landlords who live in nice places and they don't have to sit and smell dog shit and urine in this
Right.
heat. And, you know, fleas. Now I'm going to have to worry about fleas jumping over into my yard, onto my kids.
Yeah.
But I'm just sick and tired of the landlords. I read the Mercury. I'm sick and tired of landlords getting away with all the crap that they get away with. I can't do it.
Yes, and I spoke with Faye Denoff on the phone this afternoon as the police had arrived, and the dogs were being inspected to see if there was food and water and if they were in good shape. And it was pretty evident that the female had been used in dog fighting given the conditions of her face and the bleeding eye. I asked Faye directly when I spoke with her, how often do you drop in and check up on your tenants? It was a question she couldn't answer, by the way, and she was very, very reluctant to take responsibility even under these circumstances when there were police officers, codes, and people like us here asking the questions. She did not really want to take responsibility. She wanted to give me the phone number of the tenant to call and ask him what he's doing.
That's what they did once. We had 2 or 3 families ago, 6 or 7 kids, and the yard was trash all over the place. And so finally I just got tired of it. You know, I have to look over in there. My kids play out in the yard. We do a lot of gardening. So I wrote them a nice letter just saying, listen, you know, maybe you should stop by. I'm sick and tired of all the trash and also the noise. So what they did a nice favor for me. They mailed the tenants my letter, and then I was confronted by one of the grandmothers who was very angry at me for contacting them. And I found out later the house was being leased in her name, but she didn't live here. The daughter of her and the children were living here. I guess, I don't know if it's illegal or not, but I understand she was the one who signed the lease and she was supposed to be the only one living in the house.
And to your understanding, Erica, was this last round of tenants Section 8?
As far as I know, just because
Yes.
they put every once in a while there's a sign that says for sale, for rent, Section 8.
The Denoff and Lafredo advertise it that way.
There's just a phone number. I've never called the phone number.
Okay. So there's a good chance this group of tenants was Section 8. And what does this say about Section 8? What does this say about Montgomery County voucher housing?
Well, see, I'm on the fence about that because I'm sure that there are many single mothers out there who work part-time, who teach their kids values. So I can't honestly say I'm against it or I'm for it because I do believe there's a working class group of people who really need the services and they use it for as long as they can and hopefully they can get off the system. So I am really on the fence with that.
However,
when I
when you
see the tenants who live in next door to me who are capable of working, and the woman did work, she worked at the hospital, so I didn't judge them very harshly, but I noticed that her husband, you know, was home all the time, and to me, and I don't know this for a fact, he could be working, but I believe people need to work.
Yes.
Even if it's part-time, and you know, we all have to realize that we have to start somewhere and not always go for those CEO jobs right away.
And I also think that more to the point with the management of voucher housing in our community is that there definitely are people who know how to live on it well, who know how to be responsible neighbors, raising children, being good residents of the community.
Exactly.
But those who are not, why should they be allowed to continue to collect Section 8 and live like this?
Right. My question earlier to somebody was, who's paying for that emergency call? Who's paying for the 2 code officers to be here, the 2 policemen to be here? And yes, I knew the answer in my heart that it was our tax money, but I don't want to spend my money on phone calls like that. I would love to see the people who own that building pay for those 2 hours that I've had people in my yard. Things need to change, and again, I know there are good, deserving people out there on Section 8, and you know, if you need the service, I'm glad that there's something available to you, so you're not living in a shelter on the street. But the people who we've had here over the years, they know how to use the system.
They have, yes, we've come across that quite often. We do want to say thanks very much to Officer Rathgab and Martin and Bill Sharon and Karen from Codes who came out to address the issue. Jody was here with me. This is Katie Jackson, Golden Cockroach, and this is the beginning of our video testimony of what it's like to live in Pottstown and what homeowners go through, as well as tenants. Some tenants are in very bad situations as well.
Exactly.
And I guess one of the big questions is, why doesn't our local government see this? Why don't they make the changes that would benefit our situations? We are the backbone of this community. We are the taxpayers. We're reliable, we're consistent, and we matter. And the time is now, because we're losing ground quickly.
Right. And just for anybody, if you know anybody and they're looking for a place, I would definitely keep that address off the list of recommended places
Yes,
to live.
absolutely.
It's got mold, it's got sewer issues, because
Exactly.
those poop trucks come every once in a while in the middle of the night to drain their system because it floods the basement.
Right.
But I guess in case you don't like somebody a lot, I would highly recommend renting that suite.
Well, I think it would be advisable at this point. I've been inside there. I know what it was like before. It's been a few years. I doubt it looks any better than it did when I was in there 2 years ago. I think this is one of those situations where the borough would be really, really wise to call it a night on that house. No more rental licenses. No more. That's it.
Can I make
They've
a
drained it.
suggestion?
Yes.
I would suggest that Borough Council hold their next council meeting in the house. Just to, you know, it's got enough room, I think. I've never been in the house. I've been invited. Never wanted to know. But I would just suggest coming here and just having a council meeting and using the bathroom with what I hear is all mold infested.
Yes.
Just a thought.
But
Thank you.
last summer I held an open house at a slum property owned by Kenneth Kaufman at 501 King Street. And one councilman showed up. That was Dan Whean, to his credit. None of the other council people, nor the borough manager, it was actually summer before last, showed up to see the conditions. But I can tell you the people that did come, and that was quite a few of the community people, were appalled. Cockroaches, mold, they'd had plumbing, sewer issues as well. And still, when these tenants moved out, Ken Kaufman was allowed once again to rent that apartment with very minimal work done to the apartment. There's a disconnect here. This is wrong. And it's really defeating us as homeowners. So.
And to anybody in council, if you did want to have the meeting there, you could knock on my door and you could gladly use my sink to wash your hands.
We'll offer hand sanitizer at the end. Thank you, Erica.
You're welcome. I wish this was better circumstances.